Maya Thompson pushed her shopping cart through the empty grocery store aisles. The clock on the wall showed 11:47 p.m. She hated shopping this late, but her job at the animal clinic kept her busy until closing time. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead as she grabbed a box of cereal and some instant noodles. Her phone buzzed with a text from her roommate Kate. "Moving out tomorrow. Sorry for the short notice. Found a place with my boyfriend." Maya stared at the message and sighed. That meant she would have to pay the full rent on her tiny apartment now. Her veterinary assistant's salary barely covered half of it. She finished shopping and walked toward the parking lot behind her apartment building. The autumn air was cold, and she pulled her jacket tighter around her shoulders. The alley between the buildings was dark, except for one flickering streetlight that cast strange shadows on the brick walls. Maya heard a soft whimpering sound coming from behind the dumpster. She stopped and listened. There it was again, like a wounded animal trying to stay quiet. Her heart started beating faster. As someone who worked with hurt animals every day, she could not ignore that sound. She pulled out her phone's flashlight and walked slowly toward the dumpster. The whimpering got louder. Behind the metal container, she found something that made her gasp. A large lizard lay on its side in a puddle of dirty water. It was bigger than any lizard she had ever seen, about the size of a golden retriever. Its scales were dark green and blue, but they seemed to shimmer with colors that changed when the light hit them. 3 deep cuts ran across its side, and blood seeped from the wounds. The creature's breathing was shallow and quick. One of its legs was bent at an odd angle, clearly broken. But what struck Maya most were its eyes. They were large and golden. And when they looked at her, she saw something that made her stomach flip. Intelligence. This was not just an animal. Something about those eyes seemed almost human. Maya knelt down beside the creature, keeping her movements slow and gentle. She had learned from years of working with scared animals that sudden movements could make things worse. The lizard watched her but did not try to move away. "Hey there," she whispered softly. "I'm going to help you, okay?" The creature made a low rumbling noise that sounded almost like it was trying to respond to her words. Maya carefully examined the wounds. They were deep but clean, like they had been made by something very sharp. The broken leg worried her more. Without proper treatment, the creature might never walk normally again. She looked around the empty alley. No one else was there to help, and she could not leave the animal here to die. Maya made a decision that would change her life forever. She took off her jacket and carefully wrapped it around the creature. It was heavier than she expected, probably 60 or 70 pounds. The lizard did not fight her as she lifted it, but she could feel its whole body trembling with pain and fear. "I've got you," she said, carrying the creature toward her apartment building. "You're going to be okay." Maya's apartment was on the 2nd floor. She struggled up the stairs with the injured animal in her arms, stopping twice to catch her breath. Her neighbors' doors stayed closed. Everyone was probably asleep. Inside her small studio apartment, Maya gently placed the creature on her old couch. She turned on all the lights and got a better look at what she had found. The lizard was even more beautiful than she had realized. Its scales were not just green and blue, but also had hints of purple and silver that seemed to move like oil on water. Maya went to her closet and pulled out a plastic box filled with medical supplies. Working at the veterinary clinic had its benefits. She often brought home leftover bandages, antiseptic, and other supplies that the clinic was going to throw away. The creature watched her every movement as she cleaned its wounds. Maya had treated hundreds of injured animals, but none had ever looked at her with such awareness. It was like the lizard understood exactly what she was doing and why. "These cuts are deep," she said, more to herself than to the animal. "But they're not infected yet. That's good news. She cleaned each wound carefully with antiseptic. The creature made soft noises of pain, but never tried to bite or scratch her. Maya had been bitten by scared cats and dogs many times, but this animal seemed to trust her completely. The broken leg was harder to deal with. Maya was not a real veterinarian, just an assistant. She did her best to create a splint using cardboard and medical tape, but she knew the creature needed proper X-rays and surgery. "I'll take you to the clinic tomorrow," she promised. "Dr. Peterson will know what to do." When she finished with the medical care, Maya realized the creature was probably hungry. She had no idea what it ate, but she decided to try several different things. She opened a can of tuna and put some on a small plate. The lizard sniffed it, but did not eat. Maya tried leftover chicken from her dinner. The creature's eyes lit up, and it carefully took small bites from her hand. Its teeth were surprisingly sharp, but it was very gentle. Maya fed it slowly, piece by piece, until all the chicken was gone. "Still hungry?" she asked. The creature made that rumbling sound again, and Maya could swear it sounded like agreement. She scrambled some eggs and cooked them without salt or spices. The lizard ate those too, seeming to enjoy them. Maya sat back and watched the animal rest on her couch. Its breathing was deeper now, and the trembling had stopped. The golden eyes were still alert, still watching her with that strange intelligence. "What are you?" she asked quietly. "You're not like any lizard I've seen in textbooks." The creature tilted its head slightly, as if it was thinking about her question. Maya felt silly for expecting an answer, but she could not shake the feeling that it had understood her words. She got a bowl of water and placed it near the couch. The lizard drank gratefully, and Maya noticed that its tongue was not forked like a snake's. It was more like a cat's tongue, rough but not split. Maya looked at the clock. It was past 2 a.m. She had to be at work in 6 hours, but she was too worried about the creature to sleep. She pulled a chair close to the couch and sat down to keep watch. "I don't know what you are or where you came from," she said softly, "but nobody deserves to die alone in an alley. You can stay here as long as you need to." The creature's eyes slowly closed, but Maya noticed that its breathing stayed alert, like it was only half asleep. She had seen this behavior in wild animals before. They never fully relaxed, always ready to run or fight if danger appeared. Maya finally dozed off. In her chair around 4 a.m., she woke up briefly when her alarm went off at 7, but she was too tired to get up right away. She would call in sick to work and spend the day taking care of her unexpected guest. The last thing she remembered before falling back asleep was the sound of the creature's steady breathing and the strange feeling that her life was about to change in ways she could never imagine. Outside her window, storm clouds were gathering, and the first drops of rain began to fall. But inside her small apartment, Maya Thompson slept peacefully next to the most extraordinary creature she would ever meet, completely unaware that she had just saved the life of a prince from another world. Maya woke up to a strange humming sound. Her neck hurt from sleeping in the chair all night. She rubbed her eyes and looked around her apartment. Something was wrong. The air felt thick and tingly, like the moment before lightning strikes. A soft blue light was coming from somewhere in her living room. Maya stood up quickly, her heart starting to race. The light was getting brighter. She looked toward her couch where she had left the injured lizard. The creature was gone. Maya searched frantically around her small apartment. Under the bed, behind the kitchen counter, in the bathroom. Nothing. The front door was still locked from the inside. The windows were closed and latched. There was no way the creature could have escaped. The humming sound got louder. Maya turned back toward her living room and froze. A circle of bright light was forming in the air above her coffee table. It started small, about the size of a dinner plate, but it was growing bigger. The light swirled and sparkled like water mixed with stars. Maya could feel the hair on her arms standing up. She backed against the wall, her mouth open in shock. The circle of light was now as big as a door. Through the swirling brightness, Maya could see something impossible. It was not her apartment wall on the other side. It was a completely different place. Purple sky stretched out beyond the circle. Floating islands hung in the air with no support. Strange buildings that looked like they were made of crystal reached up toward two suns. Creatures with wings flew between the floating islands, too far away for Maya to see clearly. Maya rubbed her eyes hard. This had to be a dream. People did not just wake up to find magic portals in their living rooms. But when she opened her eyes, the circle of light was still there, and the alien world beyond looked more real than ever. A shadow moved across the light. Something big was coming through the portal. Maya pressed herself harder against the wall as a massive head emerged from the circle of light. It was covered in scales that shimmered with the same color she had seen on the injured lizard. But this head was huge, easily 3 feet long, with golden eyes the size of dinner plates. A long neck followed the head, then powerful shoulders and wings that barely fit through the portal. Maya watched in terror and amazement as a full-grown dragon squeezed through the circle of light and landed in her living room. The dragon was magnificent. Its body was at least 12 feet long, with wings that spread from wall to wall when fully extended. The scales were every color of the rainbow, shifting and changing as the creature moved. But the most striking thing was its eyes. They were the same golden eyes that had looked at her with such intelligence the night before. Maya's voice came out as a whisper. "You're the lizard." The dragon turned its massive head toward her and nodded slowly. Then something even more impossible happened. A voice spoke inside Maya's head. It was deep and warm, like distant thunder. "I am not a lizard, kind human. My name is Zephyr." Maya slid down the wall until she was sitting on the floor. Her legs felt like water. "You're talking to me in my head." "Yes, it is how my people communicate across the language barriers. You saved my life last night, Maya Thompson. How do you know my name? I learned much about you while you slept. Your kindness, your compassion for wounded creatures, your gentle spirit. These things shine brightly in minds like mine that can sense such qualities." Maya stared at the dragon. Part of her mind was screaming that this could not be real. But the rational part, the part that had always trusted her instincts with animals, told her that Zephyr was exactly what he appeared to be. "What happened? To your injuries?" she asked. Zephyr moved slightly, and Maya could see that the wounds on his side had completely healed. Only faint silver lines remained where the deep cuts had been. His leg was straight and strong. "My true form heals much faster than the smaller shape I wore yesterday. Your care and nourishment gave me the strength I needed to recover and transform back." "Transform? You were pretending to be a lizard?" "Not pretending. I was truly injured, and trapped in that form by the weapons that wounded me. Without your help, I would have died in that alley." Maya slowly got to her feet. The dragon was so large that its presence filled her entire apartment, but somehow she was not afraid anymore. The gentleness she had sensed in the creature's golden eyes was still there, just magnified. "What are you really?" she asked. "I am Prince Zephyr of the Draconic Council of Ethros." He gestured with his head toward the portal. "That is my world beyond the gateway." Maya looked through the swirling light at the floating islands and crystal cities. "It's beautiful. It is also in great danger. As am I. The creatures who attacked me last night were assassins sent by our enemies. They have been hunting me across multiple worlds. Why? Because I discovered something that could save both our worlds from a terrible threat. But first, I must return home and warn my people." And you, Maya Thompson, must come with me. Maya's eyes went wide. Me? I can't go. Through that thing. I'm just a veterinary assistant. I don't know anything about other worlds or dragons or whatever is trying to kill you. Zephyr's golden eyes grew serious. You know more than you think. You have something my people have forgotten after thousands of years of tradition and power. You have the ability to see simple solutions to complex problems. You have compassion that crosses all species barriers. And you have courage. I'm not courageous. I'm terrified right now. Yet you are still talking to me instead of running away. You brought a wounded creature home when you could have ignored it. Courage is not the absence of fear, Maya. It is doing what must be done despite the fear. Maya looked around her tiny apartment. The unpaid bills on her kitchen counter. The text message from Kate about moving out. The job that barely paid enough to survive. What did she really have to lose? What kind of danger are we talking about? She asked. The Vorthic Empire. They are machine beings from a parallel dimension who consume the magical energy of entire worlds to power their war fleets. They have already destroyed dozens of realms like mine. Ethros is their next target. And after that? Zephyr was quiet for a moment. Your world, Maya, Earth has been protected by magical barriers maintained by my people for centuries. But if Ethros falls, those barriers will fail. Humanity will face an enemy they cannot even see coming. Maya felt a chill run down her spine. So this is not just about saving your world. No, it is about saving both our worlds and perhaps many others. Maya walked closer to the portal. The purple sky beyond looked both beautiful and terrifying. She could see more details now. The flying creatures were definitely dragons, soaring between the floating islands. The crystal cities sparkled in the light of the twin suns. If I go with you, can I come back? If we succeed in stopping the Vorthic, yes. But I will not lie to you, Maya. The path ahead is dangerous. My people may not welcome a human into their council chambers. And the enemy we face has never been defeated. Maya thought about her life. She helped sick animals get better every day, but she had never done anything truly important. She had never had the chance to make a real difference in the world. Now a dragon prince was telling her that her simple act of kindness might be the key to saving two worlds. She took a deep breath and stepped toward the portal. Okay, she said. I'll come with you. Zephyr's eyes brightened with something that looked like relief and hope. Thank you, Maya Thompson. You may be the most important human who has ever lived. No pressure or anything, Maya said, trying to make a joke to calm her nerves. Zephyr made a sound that might have been laughter. Climb onto my back. The journey through the portal is easier with a guide. Maya had never ridden anything larger than a horse, and that was only once at a county fair. But she climbed carefully onto Zephyr's back, gripping the smooth scales at the base of his neck. Hold tight, Zephyr said in her mind. They moved toward the swirling circle of light. Maya closed her eyes as they passed through the portal, feeling a strange tingling sensation all over her body. When she opened them again, she was flying through an alien sky on the back of a dragon, leaving her old life far behind. Maya had never felt anything like flying. The wind rushed past her face as Zephyr's powerful wings carried them through the purple sky of Ethros. Below them, floating islands drifted slowly through the air, each one covered with buildings that looked like they were made of colored glass and silver metal. The twin suns were warm on her back, but not uncomfortably hot. The air smelled different here, cleaner somehow, with a hint of something like flowers and lightning. Maya gripped Zephyr's scales tighter as they flew between two massive floating cities. It's incredible, she said out loud, forgetting that Zephyr could hear her thoughts. Wait until you see the council chambers, Zephyr replied in her mind. We are almost there. They approached the largest floating island, Maya had seen yet. It was easily the size of a small city, covered with crystal. Spires that reached up toward the sky like frozen lightning. Gardens of strange glowing plants grew between the buildings, and waterfalls cascaded off the edges of the island into the empty air below. Other dragons flew around the island in organized patterns. Some were as large as Zephyr, while others were smaller or much bigger. Maya saw dragons with scales of every color she could imagine, and some colors she was sure did not exist on Earth. "They are beautiful," Maya whispered. "Each family line has different coloring and abilities. The red dragons control fire and heat. The blue dragons work with water and ice. The green dragons, like myself, are connected to growing things and healing magic." Zephyr landed on a wide platform made of white stone. Several other dragons were already there, and they all turned to stare at Maya. She suddenly felt very small and very human. A massive dragon with scales like molten gold approached them. This dragon was easily twice Zephyr's size, with scars across its face and neck that spoke of many battles. Its voice boomed in Maya's head when it spoke. "Prince Zephyr, we feared you were dead. The search parties found only traces of Vorthic weapons in the dimension where you disappeared. I was badly wounded, Elder Flameheart, but I was saved by this human." Zephyr lowered his head so Maya could climb down. Maya Thompson risked her own safety to help a creature she did not recognize. Elder Flameheart looked down at Maya with eyes like burning coals. Maya felt like she was being examined by something ancient and powerful beyond her understanding. "A human," Flameheart said. Slowly. "It has been many centuries since one of their kind walked in our realm. Times change, Elder. The threat we face may require us to change as well." More dragons gathered around the platform. Maya counted at least 20 of them, all massive and magnificent. Some watched her with curiosity, others with what looked like suspicion or dismissal. A dragon with silver blue scales and what appeared to be battle armor stepped forward. "Prince Zephyr, with respect, this is not the time for collecting pets from primitive worlds. The Vorthic scouts have been spotted at the edge of our dimension. The invasion fleet cannot be far behind. War Leader Stormwing, Maya is not a pet. She is here because human thinking may be exactly what we need to defeat the Vorthic." Stormwing snorted, and small lightning bolts crackled around his nostrils. Human thinking? They barely have space travel. They cannot even use magic. What could they possibly offer us that thousands of years of dragon wisdom cannot provide? Maya felt heat rise in her cheeks. She was scared and overwhelmed, but she did not like being talked about like she was not there. "Maybe the problem is that you have thousands of years of doing things the same way," she said before she could stop herself. Every dragon on the platform turned to stare at her. The silence stretched for several long seconds. Maya realized she had just spoken back to what were probably some of the most powerful beings in this entire dimension. Then Elder Flameheart made a sound that might have been laughter. "The small human has courage," he said. "Very well. Let us hear what Prince Zephyr learned during his reconnaissance, and what role this human might play in our defense." They moved into a vast chamber inside the largest crystal spire. The walls were transparent, giving a perfect view of the sky and floating islands outside. A circular table made of black stone dominated the center of the room, with raised platforms around it where the dragons could rest comfortably. Maya was given a chair that seemed ridiculously small next to the massive dragons surrounding her. Zephyr settled on the platform nearest to her, which made her feel slightly less alone. "Tell them what you told me about the Vorthic," Zephyr said to her privately. "I don't know anything about the Vorthic. You told me about them." "Tell them what?" "You observed about how they fight, based on what I described." Maya took a deep breath. She was a veterinary assistant, not a military strategist. But she tried to remember everything Zephyr had told her during their flight. From what Zephyr described, the Vorthic used machines that drain magical energy and turn it into power for their weapons, she said. They attack in big groups, overwhelming their enemies with superior numbers and technology. This is already known, Stormwing said impatiently. But they have a weakness, Maya continued. They rely completely on their anti-magic technology. Without it, they are just machines. Their anti-magic fields have proven impossible to break, said a dragon with deep purple scales. We have tried every form of magical attack known to our people. Maybe that's the problem. You keep trying to fight magic with magic. But what if you fight technology with different technology? The dragons looked confused. Elder Flameheart leaned forward. Explain. Maya thought about her work at the veterinary clinic. When they had problems with their computer systems, they did not fix them with more computers. They found the root cause and addressed it directly. On my world, when machines stop working, it is usually because something has interfered with their power source or their communication systems. What if the Vorthic anti-magic fields work the same way? What if you could jam their signals or cut their power? We do not have the technology for such tactics, Stormwing said. But humans do, Maya said. Not the advanced stuff the Vorthic have, but the basic principles are the same. Electronic warfare, signal jamming, electromagnetic pulses. My people have been using these things for decades. A younger dragon with bright green scales spoke up. You are suggesting we combine human technology with dragon magic? I'm suggesting you think like humans instead of like dragons, Maya said. Dragons are powerful and proud and ancient. But humans are sneaky and adaptable, and we cheat when we have to. Cheat? Elder Flameheart asked. We do not fight fair. If something is bigger and stronger than us, we use tools. If we cannot win with brute force, we use tricks. If the rules say we cannot do something, we change the rules. Maya stood up, feeling more confident. Zephyr told me that the Vorthic have never been defeated, but I bet they have never fought humans before either. They probably do not even know we exist. And you believe this ignorance could be used against them? I think the biggest advantage you have is that they expect you to fight like dragons. Big, direct, magical attacks that they can counter with their anti-magic fields. But what if you fought like humans instead? The dragons exchanged glances that Maya could not read. Finally, Elder Flameheart spoke. What exactly are you proposing? Human Maya? Hit and run attacks, sabotage, psychological warfare. Use their expectations against them. And most importantly, bring more humans here to help. More humans? Stormwing looked alarmed. You need people who think differently than you do. You need people who are used to being outgunned and outnumbered. You need people who solve problems by breaking the rules instead of following them. Maya looked around the circle of ancient, powerful dragons. You need humans who do not know that the Vorthic are supposed to be unbeatable. The chamber fell silent, except for the sound of wind outside the crystal walls. Maya realized she was holding her breath. Finally, Elder Flameheart nodded slowly. War Leader Stormwing, how long do we have before the Vorthic invasion fleet arrives? 3 days at most. Then we have 3 days to try something that has never been attempted before. Prince Zephyr, work with human Maya to develop these unconventional tactics. I will prepare our fastest dragons to open portals to Earth. Maya felt a mixture of excitement and terror. She had just volunteered her entire species for an interdimensional war they did not even know was coming. Maya barely slept during her first night in Ethros. She spent most of the time in a crystal chamber that Zephyr had arranged for her, staring out at the twin moons and trying to process everything that had happened. By morning, she had made a decision. If she was going to help save 2 worlds, she needed to understand exactly what they were fighting Zephyr found her in the Council's war room, studying holographic displays of previous Vorthic attacks. The images showed massive black ships that looked like mechanical insects, swarming over beautiful worlds and draining them of all color and life. "These are the records from the last 5 realms that fell to the Vorthic," Zephyr explained. Each world tried the same approach. Massive magical attacks, direct confrontation, traditional military formations. Maya pointed to one display showing dragons breathing fire at Vorthic ships. The flames simply disappeared when they hit the ship's dark hulls. Their anti-magic fields stop everything? Everything magical, yes. But notice this. Zephyr changed the display to show a different battle. When physical debris from destroyed buildings hit their ships, it caused damage. The fields only stop magical energy, not physical matter. So they can be hurt by regular weapons? Yes, but their armor is incredibly strong. It would take massive physical force to penetrate it. Maya studied the images more carefully. She noticed that the Vorthic ships always attacked in the same patterns, always used the same formations. "They fight like machines," she said. "They are machines." Each ship contains hundreds of artificial minds linked together, but that means they probably think like machines too. Logical, predictable, following programmed responses. Maya felt excitement building in her chest. "Zephyr, I need to talk. To some humans, real ones from Earth. Elder Flameheart has already opened portals to your world. The first volunteers should arrive this afternoon." "What kind of volunteers?" "Military personnel who have experience with unconventional warfare. Engineers who understand technology. Scientists who might help us find weaknesses in Vorthic systems." Maya nodded, but she was thinking about something else. "We also need people who are not military. We need people who think completely outside normal rules." 3 hours later, Maya stood on the arrival platform, watching humans step through shimmering portals. Most of them were exactly what she expected. Soldiers in uniform, serious-faced engineers with tablets and equipment, scientists carrying briefcases full of instruments. But there were others too. A young woman with purple hair who introduced herself as Lisa, a computer programmer and hacker. An old man named Pete who claimed to be a retired magician and escape artist. A teenager called Jake who built robot fighters for internet competitions. "This is quite a collection," Zephyr observed privately. "The weird ones might be the most useful," Maya replied. She spent the afternoon working with the human volunteers and a young dragon named Spark, who was apparently Ethros's closest equivalent to a technology expert. Spark was smaller than most dragons, with bright copper-colored scales and an eager curiosity about everything the humans showed him. "Your electronic devices are fascinating," Spark told them. "So different from our magical instruments, but operating on similar principles of energy manipulation." Lisa the hacker was examining one of Spark's magical tools, a crystal that could project detailed images of distant locations. "This is like a quantum computer and a satellite combined," she said. "The processing power must be incredible. Can you make it do things it was not designed for?" Maya asked. Lisa grinned. "That's basically my job description." Over the next day and a half, Maya watched something amazing happen. The humans and dragons began combining their knowledge in ways that neither group could have managed alone. Spark worked with the military engineers to design hybrid weapons that used both technology and magic. Lisa and the other programmers studied the mathematical patterns behind dragon spells, looking for ways to disrupt them selectively. Pete the magician, despite his age, proved surprisingly valuable. "Misdirection and illusion," he explained to a group of confused dragons. "Make your enemy look where you want them to look, not where the real threat is coming from." Jake's robot fighting experience led to discussions about swarming tactics and coordinated attacks by small, fast units instead of large, powerful ones. But Maya's biggest breakthrough came when she was talking to Dr. Amanda Foster, a biologist, who specialized in swarm behavior in insects and animals. "You said the Vorthic ships are controlled by linked artificial minds?" Dr. Foster asked. "Hundreds of them per ship, all connected," Maya confirmed. "That's remarkably similar to certain types of hive insects on Earth. The individual units are not very intelligent, but they become smart when they work together. So hive minds have predictable weaknesses. Disrupt the communication between units, and the whole system becomes confused. Create false signals, and you can make them attack each other or send them in the wrong direction." Maya felt her heart racing. Could we do that to the Vorthic? If we can figure out how their communication systems work, possibly. But we would need to get close to their ships to study the signals. That evening, Maya presented her plan to the assembled dragons and humans in the council chamber. Elder Flameheart listened carefully as she explained what they had learned. "The Vorthic expect us to meet them in direct battle," Maya said. "Instead, we let them come to us, but we make them fight on our terms. Small teams with mixed human-dragon crews. Hit their ships fast and hard, then disappear before they can respond. Guerrilla warfare," said Colonel Martinez, one of the military. "Volunteers. It can work, but only if we have good intelligence and perfect timing. That's where the deception comes in," Maya continued. "We make them think our main force is somewhere else. While they're attacking a fake target, our real teams infiltrate their communication networks." War leader Stormwing looked skeptical. "Even if we could disrupt their ship-to-ship communications, they still have overwhelming firepower." "Not if. We turn that firepower against itself," Maya said. She nodded to Lisa, who activated a holographic display showing her computer simulations. "If we can inject false targeting data into their networks," Lisa explained, "we can make their ships attack each other instead of us. It's like giving a computer virus to an entire fleet." "The risks are enormous," Elder Flameheart said. "If this plan fails, we will have scattered our forces across the battlefield instead of concentrating them for maximum magical impact. And if we fight them the traditional way, we'll lose," Maya said bluntly. "Just like every other world they've conquered." Silence filled the chamber. Maya could feel the weight of two worlds resting on the decisions made in this room. Finally, Spark spoke up. "I volunteer to be part of the infiltration team. My size will allow me to carry human technicians close to enemy ships without being easily detected." "As do I," said Zephyr. "Maya saved my life. Now I will help her save both our worlds." One by one, other dragons and humans volunteered. Within an hour, they had organized 12 mixed teams, each combining dragon mobility and magical abilities. With human technology and unconventional tactics, Maya found herself assigned as the coordinator for the most dangerous mission. Her team would include Zephyr, Lisa, Peep the Magician, and 2 dragon warriors. Their job was to reach the Vorthic command ship and plant Lisa's virus directly into their central communication system. "No pressure," Lisa joked as they prepared. "Their equipment, just the fate of multiple dimensions, hanging on whether I can hack an alien computer system I've never seen before." "You'll do fine," Maya said, surprised by her own confidence. "You're human. We specialize in doing impossible things." As the first Vorthic scout ships appeared at the edge of Ethros' dimension, Maya realized that her simple act of helping an injured creature had led to this moment. She was about to participate in a battle that would determine the survival of 2 worlds. Using tactics that had never been tried before, the old Maya would have been terrified. But the new Maya, the one who had faced down elder dragons and convinced them to trust human judgment, felt ready for whatever came next. The war for both worlds was about to begin. The Vorthic invasion fleet arrived at dawn on the 3rd day. Maya watched from Zephyr's back as hundreds of black ships emerged from tiers in space itself. Each ship was the size of a city block, covered in dark metal that seemed to absorb light. They moved in perfect formation, like a swarm of mechanical locusts. "Remember the plan," Maya said into her communication device. All 12 teams were positioned around the floating islands, hidden behind crystal formations and inside cave networks. "Wait for my signal." The Vorthic ships began their attack exactly as Maya had predicted. They targeted the largest crystal. Spires first, the obvious seats of power in Dragon Society. Beams of red energy lanced out from their weapons, striking the buildings and draining them of their magical glow. Elder, Flameheart, and the main dragon force responded just as they had rehearsed. They flew directly at the enemy ships in a massive formation, breathing fire and calling down lightning. To the Vorthic, it looked like exactly the kind of traditional magical assault they had faced and defeated on dozens of other worlds. The dragon attacks bounced harmlessly off the Vorthic anti-magic fields. The alien ships pressed forward, confident in their superiority. They had no idea that the real attack was still coming. Teams Alpha through Kilo, begin Phase 2. Maya ordered. 11 small teams burst from their hiding places. Each team consisted of one dragon carrying 2 or 3 humans, flying fast and low to avoid detection. They scattered in different directions, making the Vorthic think they were seeing a desperate retreat. Maya's team, designated Team Lima, had the hardest job. While the other teams harassed the outer ships and planted disruption devices, Maya, Zephyr, Lisa, and Pete had to reach the massive command ship at the center of the enemy formation. "Their command vessel is heavily shielded," Zephyr said as they flew through the chaos of battle. "We will have to get very close." "Let me handle that," Pete called from behind Maya. The old magician was grinning like he was about to perform his greatest trick. He pulled out a small device that Lisa had built according to his specifications. "Holographic projector," Pete explained. "Combined with dragon illusion magic, it should make us invisible to their sensors." Maya felt the air shimmer around them as Pete activated his device. Looking down at her own hands, she could barely see them. Zephyr had become completely transparent. They flew directly toward the command ship, passing between the larger vessels without being detected. Maya could see the other teams in action now. Jake's robot fighting experience was showing as he directed precision strikes against communication arrays. Dr. Foster was using her knowledge of swarm behavior to predict and avoid the Vorthic patrol. "Patterns. There," Lisa pointed toward the command ship's hull. "I can see the main communication array. It's those dish-like structures on the upper section." "Can you access their network from here?" Maya asked. "I need to be touching the hull. The signal encryption is too strong to crack from a distance." Zephyr hovered next to the massive ship, while Lisa extended a cable from her laptop to one of the communication dishes. Maya watched nervously as her friend worked, typing rapidly while data scrolled across her screen. "I'm in," Lisa whispered. "Their network architecture is actually simpler than I expected. Very logical, very organized, very predictable." "Can you upload the virus?" "Already doing it." "But Maya, you need to see this. I'm reading their command communications. They're not just here to conquer Ethros." Maya's blood ran cold. "What do you mean?" "They have coordinates for Earth and dozens of other worlds. This isn't an invasion. It's the beginning of a massive expansion campaign. If they succeed here, they plan to attack 15 different dimensions within the next month." "How long?" "Until the virus takes effect? 2 minutes. But there's something else. I can access their targeting systems from here. I could redirect their weapons right now." Maya made a decision that surprised even herself. Instead of ordering Lisa to turn, the Vorthic weapons against each other She had a different idea. Can you open a communication channel to their command center? Maya, what are you doing? Zephyr asked. Something very human, Maya replied. Lisa, open the channel. A moment later, Maya found herself speaking directly to the Vorthik command. Ship. Her voice was broadcast to every ship in the fleet. Vorthik fleet, this is Maya Thompson of Earth. I'm speaking to you from inside your own communication network. The response came immediately in a mechanical voice that spoke perfect English. Impossible. Our systems cannot be penetrated by primitive organic technology. Apparently they can, Maya said. We've already uploaded a virus that will take control of your weapons in about 90 seconds. But I'm not calling to threaten you. I'm calling to offer you something better than conquest. Explain. Maya took a deep breath. This was the biggest gamble of her life. You conquer worlds because you need their energy to power your civilization. But what if there was a way to generate unlimited energy without destroying other species? No such method exists. It does on my world. We call it fusion power. Clean, unlimited energy created by combining simple elements. We're still learning how to use it properly, but the dragons of Ethros have magical techniques that could perfect the process. There was a long pause. Maya could see Lisa's virus spreading through the Vorthik networks, taking control of ship after ship. But she did not give the order to attack. Why would you offer this knowledge to us? The Vorthik voice asked. Because destroying worlds is wasteful, Maya said. You're obviously intelligent. You've built an incredible civilization. But you're wasting your abilities on conquest when you could be creating something amazing instead. Your fusion technology would require extensive scientific collaboration to adapt to our systems. Then let's collaborate. Humans are good at learning new things. Dragons are masters of energy manipulation. And you have the engineering skills to build things we can't even imagine. Together, we could create something none of us could build. Alone, Maya could feel Zephyr's surprise through their mental link. Even Pete and Lisa were staring at her like she had lost her mind. But Maya pressed on. You have 1 minute to decide. In 60 seconds, my virus takes control of your weapons, and I can destroy your entire fleet. Or you can accept my offer of partnership and learn something that will benefit all our peoples. The silence stretched for 30 seconds. Maya watched. The countdown on Lisa's screen. 40 seconds, 30 seconds. 20. Maya Thompson of Earth. The Vorthik voice said finally, Your proposal is ... acceptable. We will cease our attack and enter into negotiations for technological exchange. Maya felt her knees go weak with relief. Lisa, cancel the virus. Already done. Maya, I can't believe that worked. Neither can I, Maya admitted within hours. The first formal peace talks in galactic history were taking place in the Dragon Council chambers. Maya found herself serving as the primary negotiator between 3 completely different species, trying to bridge gaps between magical thinking, human innovation, and mechanical logic. The Vorthik, it turned out, were not evil. They were simply desperate. Their home dimension was dying, and they had turned to conquest because they could not find any other way to survive. The possibility of unlimited clean energy was more valuable to them than any military victory. Elder Flameheart proved surprisingly willing to share dragon knowledge, especially when he realized that the Vorthik's engineering abilities could help protect other worlds from similar threats. The negotiations took 3 days. When they were finished, Maya had helped create the first interdimensional alliance in recorded history. The Vorthik agreed to halt all military expansion and share their advanced technology. The dragons would teach energy manipulation techniques. Humans would provide fusion technology and serve as neutral mediators for future disputes. Permanent portal was established between Earth and Ethros, hidden in a secure facility in Nevada and guarded by both human military forces and dragon. Sentinels. Maya was appointed as the first human ambassador to the magical realms, with Zephyr serving as her counterpart for dragon-human relations. 6 months later, Maya stood in her new office, which was located on a floating platform halfway between Earth and Ethros. Through one window, she could see the familiar blue skies of her homeworld. Through the other, she could see the purple skies and twin suns of the Dragon Realm. On her desk was a photo from the opening ceremony of the first human dragon Vorthic research facility. Maya smiled at the image of herself standing between Zephyr and a Vorthic engineer, all three of them wearing matching lab coats. "Ambassador Thompson," Zephyr said, entering her office. "The first group of human volunteers for the Dimensional Patrol Program has arrived." Maya nodded. The Patrol Program was her latest project, training mixed teams to monitor the interdimensional barriers and help other species facing threats similar to what they had overcome. "How many applicants do we have?" "Over 10,000. "Apparently. Saving multiple dimensions looks good on a resume." Maya laughed. "Send in the first group. Let's see what kind of impossible things humans want to do today." As she prepared to interview the new volunteers, Maya thought about how much her life had changed since that night when she found an injured creature in an alley. Her simple act of kindness had grown into something she never could have imagined.